Good evening. I have, for your enjoyment and pleasure tonight, another video about bugles, but this one slightly different. Instead of talking about a plain bugle like this or a slightly more complicated bugle like this, we are instead talking about a different sort of bugle, and that is like this. This bugle is what you would use in the field, a military sort of style bugle. It is made out of brass and copper. It is quite a nice instrument, even though it does make your hands feel a little bit stinky afterwards. This one is made by Boosey and Co in London. They call it Class A. There's a bit of a stamp on the front here. It was made in the past. And it's quite a compact bugle. It twists itself around on itself to give it a little bit more length. Now, that's the basic physical characteristics of this instrument. It does also have a little chain so that you can't lose the mouthpiece quite so easily. But that mouthpiece is quite interesting. And it is interesting for a number of reasons. Firstly, the hole where the air goes is tiny. The cup, the rim, they're all unusually shaped. The bore of this instrument too is larger than what you would expect, so you've got a tiny mouthpiece that fits in here, but it's got quite a large bore. It takes a full trumpet sized mouthpiece, or about an alto horn sort of size mouthpiece. When this instrument arrived, I thought I would put some of my other mouthpieces in it and give it a bit of a play, but then I noticed something really interesting about the physical, about the come to me words, about the musical characteristics of this instrument, and that if you put different mouthpieces in it, it blows the tuning of the harmonic series completely out of the window, as I will now demonstrate. I first tried a cornet mouthpiece in it, and it just fell almost right through the instrument. It didn't fit whatsoever. So I got a trumpet mouthpiece out. This is a Schilke 15A4A, quite a small mouthpiece, but as you can see, it fits quite well on the instrument. However, the tuning of the different intervals in the harmonic series go completely out the window. You can tell that that is not right. There are some very odd intervals happening there. Now this mouthpiece, this is a Denniswick 3. I believe it's a tenor horn mouthpiece, although it fits quite comfortably on my mellophone and that solo horn I demonstrated in a previous video. It improves the tone of this instrument, and it improves the tuning of the instrument, as I will now demonstrate. But it makes it incredibly difficult to try and play high notes. I just can't do it. And so the more comfortable mouthpiece plays the notes in tune, but it's almost impossible to hit the higher notes. The trumpet mouthpiece, you can play all the notes a lot easier, but they're all out of tune. And so what is it about this bizarre mouthpiece that makes a difference? Or does it actually make a difference? Truth be told, this is the first time I have played the instrument with the correct mouthpiece in. Let's see what we get. A lot of ear noise. The mouthpiece doesn't sound like it fits in very well. Let me just jam that in a little bit harder and try again. Oh, still very difficult to play high, and yeah, it doesn't sound like it fits very well. Looks like there's a little bit of, no, can't really say there's any issues with this. It must be the mouthpiece. In fact, if I just put it in lightly, it has a lot of jiggle room. Now I have a second bugle mouthpiece, and that's out of this abhorrent creature that I misguidedly purchased a long time ago, and that is also quite unusual in the way that it has this very flat rim, this very unusual cup, and the very weird hole in the middle of it. But let's see whether that makes a difference. It's a little bit easier to play. It still has some obvious breathy noises coming out. Actually, let me get some of my little plumber's insulation tape and see whether I can make that seal a little better. Now, this tape, unlike me, is 1/10 of a millimeter thick, and as a result it is perfect for insulating the edges of mouthpieces when you put them into an instrument to ensure that there isn't any leaks. Let's see if that makes a difference. It makes it slightly better, but I can tell that there is still some breathiness, so perhaps one of the other solders or joins in the instrument is a little bit unsatisfactory. Something for me to look for. Anyway, in New Zealand we only really use 3 different bugle calls these days. We have the first one, which is the last post, which if you view back in some of my videos you will see me playing on an Anzac Day service. That one starts like this. Oh, I can't use that mouthpiece, that's just awful. Let's use the one that's in tune but really hard to play high notes on. And then we have the rouse, which is like this. And then the reveille, which is quite a long bugle call that is played right in the early morning on the dawn services that we have. What I will now do is try to play a bugle call on this instrument, demonstrating the different mouthpieces and what results that you get from those different mouthpieces. And then I will finally play the same call on this bugle that I have here, this G bugle, because I think this is probably a bit nicer of an instrument than this one is. And with the trumpet mouthpiece, with the mouthpiece that came with the instrument, not only does that sound bad, but I feel as though it has dug into my lips and I now have a permanent cavity in the shape of this mouthpiece. And the last comparison will be with this mouthpiece, which came from my other bugle, wrapped in some insulation tape, because I haven't removed that yet. None of them sound very good, unfortunately. And so to round this off, I will play that same bugle call on this bugle here. As you can tell, immediately that tuning picks up a little bit, and I can play something a little bit more recognisable. Anyway, that's not the purpose of this video. The purpose of this video was to introduce you to this instrument, which will be in one of several keys depending on the size of the mouthpiece that you play. It's a lovely, unfortunately, it's a lovely, probably wall hanging, because I can't really use this as I intended, which was to be in on ceremonial events because of the issues with the mouthpiece and the tunefulness and so forth. Can't really use it as I intended, but never mind. It wasn't particularly expensive. But anyway, this video has been about this instrument. Thank you for watching.